and what are its uses, and what are the different phases of software testing life cycle. So, that's why we are performing the software testing life cycle. What are the benefits of software testing that we cover in this life cycle? First phase is requirement analysis. Once we get requirement from the customer, we are doing feasibility study about that, whether it is practically implemented the customer requirement or not. That we will check in requirement analysis. Also, we are checking that customer means it is a valid requirement, it is a feasible, practically implemented or not. It is feasible or not, we are checking in the requirement analysis. Also, we are analyze the customer requirements. Tester analyze the customer requirements, and in that testing starts from the first phase of SDLC, because if we start testing from the first stage, then the cost of fixing defect is very less as compared to another phase, rather than in future phases. It is very important to start testing activities from the requirement phase itself. That's why we perform requirement analysis, because when if we perform a testing from requirement analysis phase, then we are saving cost, time and money of the customer as well as our. So it will benefit for the customer as well as company, because it is a heavy loss, because we cannot fix the bug after developing the product. That's why we perform testing as early after the requirement gathered from the customer. We are saving cost of fixing defect. We found defect as early and we are trying to fix as early, so that it is easy to fix the bug as early as possible, and we save customers cost, application cost as well as time and money. So it is a faster process to develop the product. That's why we perform. After that, we are performing test planning. In this phase, all the planning about testing is done, like what needs to be tested, how the testing will be done, means the testability of the application. About testing is done, how the testing will be done, what needs to be tested, and test strategy to be followed, what will be the test environment. In that, we perform testing like black box testing, white box testing. We perform on that. as per the requirement. But white box testing generally performed by developer at developer environment, and how the testing will be done is measured as per the black box testing and white box testing. So testing is done like what needs to be tested and what will be the test environment, what test methodologies will be followed, hardware and software availability, resources, risk, etc. that we perform in test planning. All the resources we require for that, what are the risk factor involved in testing the applications. If there is a major risk, so there is a major risk, so we have to perform testing in another way. That's why we perform testing, because we found the that's why we perform test planning, because we found risk risk various risks about testing the application, software and hardware availability, resources, and test environment as well, test methodologies, that all we are consider in test planning. After that, third phase is test analysis. After test planning is over, test analysis phase starts. In this phase we need to dig deeper into project and figure out what testing needs to be carried out in each SDLC phase. What testing needs to be carried out, that we perform, that we decide in test analysis phase. Automation activity also decided in this phase. If automation needs to be done for software product, how will the automation be done, how much time it will take to automate, and which feature need to be automated. So we are deciding here that what are the testing methodologies, what testing need to be carried out in each SDLC phase, that we decide on test analysis. Like in banking application, we decide as we perform testing as per security point of view. In e-commerce website, we are performing testing as per the usability and graphical user interface testing point of view, as well as security testing also we perform in that that we decide in test analysis phase. And we are figuring out which testing needs to be carried out in each SDLC phase in test analysis. After that, test design. In this phase, various black box and white box testing design techniques are carried out to design the test cases. For testing, testers start writing test cases by following those design techniques. So in this phase, we are deciding, we are performing testing design techniques like white box testing, also black box testing, etc. to decide to design the test cases for testing. In this phase, tester starts writing test cases by following those design techniques. If automation needs to be done, then automation script also need to be written in this phase. State Tester starts writing test cases for by following those design techniques that we perform. In test analysis, we decide in third phase of test STLC, that test analysis, we decide what functional testing we are performing, how functional testing is to be performed. Is that we are functional as well as non-functional testing we have to perform, as well as security, which testing we have to perform, that we decide in test analysis phase. In test planning, we are planning for the other environment, test environment, availability of software and hardware. Test environment means which browser it will run, means either Chrome, Firefox or Edge. Software and hardware availability, which hardware compatibility suitable for this testing, so that we are performing the necessary configuration required for testing the applications, so that we perform in test planning. Another phase is test case construction and verification. In that phase, tester prepare more test cases by keeping in mind the positive and negative scenarios and end user scenarios, etc. The test plan document should also be finalized and verified by reviewers. So in that tester after that performing test designing, tester perform test case construction and verification. In that he is responsible to write positive as well as negative test cases for various, keeping in mind various scenarios and end user scenarios. And also test plan also should be finalized and verified by reviewers, review by project lead or senior tester. In that, after that, test execution and bug reporting. The test cases are executed and defects are reported in bug tracking tool. Testing is an iterative process. If defect is found and fixed, testing needs to be done after every defect fix. Testing is an iterative process, means testing not stop, because every time the requirement change. After developing the product, testing must be required to perform, because there might be issues, bugs in the application, or there is functionality issues in the application, non-functional issues in the application, as well as usability of the application, that we are performing in the software application, that all the developed product, means whichever the part is developed by the developer, that needs to be tested thoroughly by keeping in mind various end user scenarios, because whenever the application fails, then the customer will get frustrated for using that application. That's why we perform testing, and it is not usable customer use, and it should not meet customer expectations. It should not meet customer expectations. That's why we are doing testing. And takes six step is test execution and what and reporting, bug reporting. Whatever the test cases we've written, like black box testing, white box testing, a positive and negative test cases, that we are executing in test execution phase, and after that we are reporting the bug to the developer, and we are defects are reported in bug tracking tool. Testing is an iterative process. If defect is found and fixed, testing needs to be done after every defect fix. Functionality testing is performed. Functionality means working of the application, working and behavior of the application. The functionality is means working of the application. Particular functionality run as per the customer requirement, that we are checking in functionality testing. In non-functional testing, we are checking performance, response time of the application, usability, how usable, how easy the customer should interact to the application, is that we are checking in usability and performance, as well as security testing, that we are checking in security. After that, seventh phase is final testing and implementation. In this phase, final testing is done for the software. Non-functional testing like stress, load, and performance testing are performed in this phase. After the software is developed, then we are performing final testing, like stress, load, and performance testing are performed in this phase. After that, final test execution reports and documents are prepared in this phase. And last phase is post implementation. In post implementation, the process review meetings are done, means whatever the testing we are performing, that are correctly implemented or not, that we are checking in post implementation. And the test plan document should also be finalized and verified by reviewers. A document is prepared to cope up similar A document is prepared to cope up similar problems in future releases. That's why we are performing reviewing the application in post implementation. That's that is all about. These are the 8 phases of software testing life cycle. And again, last question is difference between SDLC and SDLC. So SDLC is a testing life cycle. SDLC is product life cycle. SDLC is performed by tester and SDLC performed by developer. SDLC is process life cycle. SDLC is product life cycle. And there are 7 phases in SDLC. There are 8 phases in SDLC. There are different participants are involved in SDLC, like BA, business analyst, customer, developer, tester, end user. And in SDLC only tester is involved. First phase in SDLC is requirement gathering, and first phase in SDLC is requirement analysis. That is all about SDLC and SDLC. Thank you friends. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.